in. It's a privilege to actually start this particular session. So, Retailers Association of India, in collaboration with FSSC 22000 and ITC IFSAN, welcomes you to the first orientation program of FSSC Development Plan. This program aims to give you, this session aims to give you some insights into the International Food Safety Standard certification, the process, and how are we supposed to do that. To kickstart the session, let me please welcome Mr. Gautam Jain, Director, Advocacy and Finance, Retailer Association of India, to say something and then start the session, please. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Meenakshi. Welcome and good afternoon, one and all present on this virtual program. It's our pleasure to host this orientation session on FSSC Development Program in India. And I would like to thank Subha from ITC IFSAN and Mr. Darshane from FSSC Development, FSSC 22000. Without their support, this program would have not been possible. And of course, our good friend, Dr. Prabodh Halde, who's there here since beginning. And I'm sure all of you know about REI. REI is Association of all Indian retailers, as well as all the international retailers who are present in India. So as of now, we have around 2,000 members, and we represent more than 500,000 number of retail stores across India. I request Hardik to present REI presentation. Hardik, can you share REI presentation on the screen? this was the short presentation about RAI. Now I request Meenakshi to take it forward.
Yeah, thank you so much, Gautam sir. We now welcome Mr. Prabodh Halde, President AFST Mumbai and Head Technical Regulatory. Hello.
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 Yeah, Meenakshi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
hear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So we now welcome Mr. Prabodh Halde, President AFST Mumbai and Head Technical Regulatory Marico Limited. Okay. Prabodh sir is having more than 21 years of experience
I
in the
think
industry.
we can skip the introduction, Meenakshi ji, because it's a virtual
I
meeting.
think
And
Prabodh doesn't need any introduction actually.
All
No,
right.
no.
Okay. So, sir, we welcome you to this
And
session. We
just
would
for
like
your
to hear a couple of
information,
words from you.
He's the
just
most
your
well-known person in
information.
entire food industry. Yeah, Prabodh.
No, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. And Gautam ji, dhanyawad. And I think you are reading my old CV some 6 years back, because after Mumbai chapter president, I became a vice president of headquarter and then president of headquarter. That is also 2 years back. And just to
Oh, okay. Okay.
Shubha is now taking over as the president of Mumbai chapter. So she will feel like how Prabodh is become a president again. So jokes apart, respected DV Darshane sir, who is my mentor, guru, and I work under him. Me and Shubha, we both work under Dr. Darshane. He is one of the very great personality in the food safety and also the quality. And my friend Shubaprada, Gautam ji, and Lawrence, and all the RAI team. I'm so fortunate because for this marriage of RAI and FSSC, I was the Pandit in between. And I remember when DVD came and when we did a focus day 2 times in India, both the time we desire that can we have some kind of association with RAI, because RAI is the only association who represents basically all the retailers in India who are professional retailers. So FSSC 22000, it's so important because it will link with the international standards. And after COVID, we realized that what is the importance of safety. And recently, government has issued the guideline on the post-COVID operation. And me and Shubha, we both are partner as an author team in the BIS documentation and part of the FSSI documentation. After doing this particular program, FSSC, which includes Schedule 4 and also the COVID guideline, I think it is like icing on the cake. And I congratulate RAI for taking this bold step of joining hands with FSSC. And I also congratulate FSSC for choosing the RAI and doing this program on no loss, no profit basis. And I also thank Shubha for coming forward and helping both the parties, important parties, and giving the softer aspect, the information. I think it is more important to listen from the expert like Dr. Darshane and his team. So I wish all the best to all the participants and to both the associations. Though this is just a start, but I know that FSSC has many schemes. And Gautam ji, FSSC is not only a 22,000, we have many schemes for the vendors and the small retailers and the small producers. So we can do a complete value addition and value chain value addition. So with this, I stop here and wish you all the best. And I will be available for any help as required at a call away. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now, without further delay, let me just welcome Mr. Dr. D.V. Darshane. Dr. Darshane has been working as an independent consultant since 2018 and has joined FSSC 22000 team as a senior advisor for South Asia. Dr. Darshane has 34 years of experience. I'm sorry.
Carry on, Meenakshi.
Yeah. So Dr. Darshane has 34 years of experience in both strategic and operational areas within pharmaceutical and food and beverage industry. And at current capacity, he intends to support food retailers and food service providers with FSSC certification in India. Welcome, Doc. And along with him, I also take the opportunity to welcome Miss Shubaprada Nishtala. She is Vice President of Association of Food Science Technology, Mumbai chapter, and has worked with state and central food regulatory department in competence development to change the regulation. With over 22 years of experience in quality operations in food processing industry, she currently heads ITC IFSAN, the International Training Center for Food Safety and Applied Nutrition, which is set up jointly with FSSI and EIC, and is responsible to facilitate the development of internationally relevant curriculum to cater to the needs of different segment of food professionals across Southeast Asia. She is also conferred with numerous awards for her work in food safety space, including the current FSSC AFST Food Safety Professional of the Year 2019. It's a privilege to have you, ma'am, in this particular session. Welcome on board. And over to you, Doc. To take us through the entire session.
Good evening to all of you. I hope you can hear me well. In case not, just raise your hand or send me a message on this thing. So first of all, I would like to thank RAI for joining hands with us in working in the space, which is a non-competitive. Can you see my screen right now? Meenakshi or anyone, can you tell me? Because it's showing me some.
We can see, Doc. We can see.
Okay, great.
Please continue. Please continue.
Thank you, Meenakshi, for kind introduction and for sharing the insights on work being done by RAI. And it's commendable how RAI is working closely with its members and providing support to the retailers. And especially, I've been watching the news related to the work which is being done in the COVID era. So thank you, Mr. Gautam Jain, Mr. Lawrence Fernandez, and Dr. Prabodh Halde for joining hands to work together on improving the quality and food safety in retail and catering sector. Now, your partnership is valuable to us. And also thank you, Ms. Shubaprada ma'am, for partnering with us and representing ITC IFSAN, which is a government initiative for building capacity. Now, Ms. Shubaprada will share more about ITC IFSAN and its activities during the presentation today. We also have present today Ms. Smita Murthy, who is FSSC representative for India, and also we have the representatives of certification bodies. Those will be helping us along the process in achieving some of those milestones in this whole process. So when I look at these three logos, RAI, FSSC, and ITC IFSAN, I look at it as a golden triangle working together with a common goal. And quality in many times is seen as a competitive advantage. However, the food safety is a non-competitive space. And if we have any information about food safety, which will improve industry standards, we should be pledged to sharing that information with each other. And with this thing in mind, these agencies have come together, and this golden triangle will continue to share the information with you as we go through this whole process. Can you see the next slide? I don't know, screen is frozen now.
Yes, Doc, it's visible.
No, the screen is frozen. Let me just.
Okay.
Yeah, now it's moving. So just to give a quick background about FSSC. FSSC is a mother foundation based in Netherlands, who is having various activities. And basically, FSSC has been around there for 10 years. You can see it started in 2010, which issued the version 1 of food safety standard documentation. It's associated with more than 125 certification bodies around the world. These are called as stakeholders for FSSC. Also training organizations and accreditation bodies, which it works with to ensure and deliver the programs around the world. So just a bit of stats, which is about more than 23,900 certificates have been issued in last 10 years. So approximately 1,000 plus certificates every year. Now, FSSC has a global representation in China, Japan, India, North America, South America, and Europe. It also offers special program for subject matter experts. It also covers the entire supply chain in terms of food in the industry. So it has programs for retail. It has programs for catering, which we're going to talk about. We'll be speaking about retail programs in another 2 months from now. We also have programs for transportation and cold storage, this is one of the most important or critical part of the food chain, which ensures that the food which is transported at the right temperature. There's a traceability and all. And also it certifies food manufacturing plants. Food packaging manufacturing also there's a standard for it. And there's a feed standard for animal feed production. And there's also standard for farming. But majority of the certifications are currently in the space of food manufacturing, food packaging, and animal feed. The FSSC Foundation is making efforts now to drive the sectors like catering and retail, because this has become more critical and important post-COVID now. So about today's program, we all know that the program would have introduction, background, and discussion. So we are going to have discussion towards the end. The content of the program would be shared now with you. The partnering for the pilot program is one of the major theme here. So we are working closely with RAI and ITC IFSAN in partnering, delivering, and ensuring that you get the best of the information available. Now here we are going to talk about building compliance and gaining consumer trust, because those are the core at the heart of any program. And then we'll talk about the summary and benefits of the program and why you need to be partnering with us in this space, and how would you convince yourself and your management that how you could get onto this journey with us on building food safety across the catering and the restaurants. We'll also speak about how do I get started or sign up for the program, and we'll have a quick discussions and Q&As at the end. So these are the two interesting pictures I saw when you Google about India and about restaurants in retail. The picture on the left, which talks about post-COVID scenario, the partitions being set up in one of the restaurants. So consumers have basic expectations. Whenever people are going to eateries or restaurants or cafes, what they're looking for is a quality and taste of the food, because that's visible to them. And people can identify if the food is freshly made or not. They also expect clean and safe environment around them. And especially after COVID-19, awareness level is very high. And people, however, cannot see certain food safety issues and experience sicknesses. Now, according to WHO, there's a bit of background on this, is access to sufficient amounts of safe and nutritious food is the key to sustaining life and promoting good health. And unsafe food containing harmful bacteria, viruses, and parasites or chemical substances can cause more than 200 different diseases, ranging from diarrhea to cancers. And around the world, an estimated 600 million people, almost 1 out of 10 people on this earth, fall ill after eating contaminated food each year. And you could be one of them, resulting in 420,000 deaths and loss of 33 million healthy life years daily. Now, food safety, nutrition, and food security are closely linked, and unsafe food creates a vicious cycle of disease and malnutrition, particularly affecting the infants, young children, elderly, and the sick. Now, the governments aim to enhance at country level the capacity to prevent, detect, and respond to public health threats associated with the unsafe food. here what we are going to look at, the three elements. And before we jump in, this program is for basically, which is built for cafes, eateries, restaurants, and we're going to deep dive more into this. But the program does not include the street food at this stage. So if there is any question, this is for places which are established places, and not the hawkers and street vendors involved in this. There is a separate program which is run by the government of India and some of the NGOs to drive that. So we're going to talk about what is FSSC Development Program, what is the benefit to my company, and how can my company get started onto this program. So as we said that we have a primary objective here is to gain consumer and customer trust, because trust is the one thing, if broken, it's like a promise, then people will not be happy about it. If people fall sick by eating in a particular eatery or a restaurant, I'm sure that they typically avoid to go there, or not only avoid to go there, but they also speak about it, their experiences, and let people know what their experience was. It's also important that the program not only just meets customer and consumer needs, but also meets and improves the regulatory compliance. If you are a single restaurant or a cafe or a chain of restaurants, what is key and important thing is improving the regulatory compliance. So at any given time, you have an inspection, you look compliant and you look good. And it should be proud to say that we are always compliant. Now, what is important is visible is change in the GMP. Now, if you go to any restaurant and if the GMP or cleanliness or hygiene is very good, you could experience it, you could see it. And that reduces the food safety risk at the catering and the food service. And the measure of effectiveness of the program and qualitative and quantitative are the key, because program would be verified by third-party agency that's going to issue you a certificate which guarantees that you've been doing a good job of implementing certain programs. So basically, whatever we implement, there must be a measure of effectiveness for the program. And that's what we'll be talking about. So if you look at the center on the left-hand side as a diagram, you said the customer is expecting quality and food safety. And what are the other partners looking for? The other partners are looking for essential elements. So food service industry would look for compliance plus consumer confidence. Okay. The government, FSSAI or ITC IFSAN, from their standpoint, they would look at compliance plus capacity building. That means the more and more people are trained and are having subject matter expertise so that they can handle the situation in the marketplace. And also from the FSSC standpoint, we're looking at compliance plus advancing food safety at the national or global level. So this is where, if you look at it, what is the most common theme here is the compliance plus. That means the government has already set up certain minimum requirements, and how can we help the organizations to make sure that we are always compliant and we have right programs in place. So this particular program is for food service, outlet certification for food safety. All retail shops where ready-to-eat food is served basically are included in this, and building capability with the development program. So we are going to speak about building food safety foundations, which is the GMP, hygiene, HACCP, and traceability. Also going to speak about simple approach to achieve conformity assessment. And this could be a new term for many people. What is conformity assessment and what is certification? And we'll speak in a few minutes about that. So hold on to that word, conformity assessment. It's also important about FSSAI compliance in India to work in enhancing the food safety and improving hygiene and food handling at the retail outlet. So Next to selling food products in restaurants, activities like procuring, cleaning, storing, and preparation add to the complexity of the food service process. Besides this complexity in process, many food service organizations are large in size and several stores which are involved in operating in different cities. Now, food safety needs to be assured by centralized and decentralized processes, and also effective communication is critical to assure the food safety. Now, any failure which is going to end up in one of the central procurement process or anything which is centralized process for large retail chains or restaurant chains is going to result in affecting multiple restaurants. And same, I would say, is that the effect will not be so big for the smaller or single restaurants, but it is extremely important that we do not let it happen even in one restaurant. So FSSC is applicable to all retail wholesale organizations selling and preparing food, such as supermarkets, hypermarkets, where food is served in malls, cafes, restaurants, catering in offices, eateries, and cloud kitchens. As I mentioned, we are not included at this stage the street food. So I want you to look at these 4 pictures. As we mentioned that there are visible and invisible food safety issues here. Okay. In the first picture on the left-hand side, in the spoon, you can see a piece of nail there. This is a physical hazard, which could be easily noticed. But if you see the other 3 pictures, which I just put them randomly, everything appears to be clean, correct, and hygienic. And there are chances that there could be certain challenges and opportunities to improve the food safety in those places. In the first picture, the second picture, you could see that all the restaurant is empty and clean. You don't know what exactly happening in the back kitchen out there. And in the last picture, you could see that extremely crowded. I'm sure this picture is the pre-COVID scenario. I don't think that people are sitting so close to each other now, post-COVID scenario. But what is important is that it's not necessary that food safety issues could be visible all the time. And therefore, we need to have some kind of program or management system in place to ensure, or routines and checks to ensure that we address those visible and invisible food safety issues. Here are some more pictures. You can see that that some of the cleaning practices which could affect if it is not handled properly. Some of them are dependent on human behavior, or I would say the moods of the people. There are certain things which you can see as a practices on the left-hand side bottom, that when the food is kept and pest control is not done properly, especially nighttime, there are activities around the food. You can also see that the same knife is being used to chop both the veg and non-veg content in the food. And these are some of the big lapses. I'm sure that you are familiarized with this. You can also see in one of the picture on the right bottom is the cold storage where things are not segregated and both allergenic and non-allergenic food is kept or stored together. Now, for a common man, these are the things which are not visible to them. They believe, they trust that you have systems in place to ensure that none of these things happen and they do not fall sick. So coming to what is FSSC Development Program. Now, this is a single slide. I would like you to remember most of the content here. And although we'll go through explanation in the following slides. It's a 2-level approach to support establishments to achieve food safety. What do you mean by 2-level approach? Many organizations found it challenging that when they get started on the program, many people believe that they are not going to make it to the end. And what FSSC has realized is that it is important to recognize the efforts made by the organization. So they decided to break this program into two components. One is the level 1, the second is level 2, and third is the full certification. What it allows you is basically implement the first basic steps. And once you achieve those steps, you would get recognized. And we're going to speak about it in the next slide. So it's basically a stepwise approach, which gives you time to breathe, space, reflect, and get back onto journey to achieve the next levels. Now it's aligned with Codex, has a GFSI global markets, and fits into FSSC 22000 structure, which is based on ISO 22000 program. Now it also provides flexibility to start at level that meets maturity of the establishment. Now some people say, when they look at the checklist, they will say that we already are compliant with level 1. Do we have to go with level 1? Or can I jump into level 2? Sure, you can straightway go into level 2. If you believe your organization is already ready for full certification, you can straightway go into full certification. But although this program is divided into level 1 and level 2, this is for people, those who are just going to begin the journey or are looking forward for the certification with FSSC. Now, as it said that the FSSC Foundation is owned and governed by non-profit FSSC Foundation, and we'll speak about the costs associated with this and how FSSC is not going to make any profit out of this particular program which we are presenting at this stage. So program delivered by independent assessment bodies that are monitored by FSSC Integrity Program. So we'll be introducing you to some of the certification bodies and their names at the end of the presentation. You may be already knowing some of them, but that means we are using third-party assessors to implement the program and to conduct the assessments and also provide training to you. So these are the basic things you must know about the program, and we're going to jump straight into what is the program now and how it looks like. So it begins with a simple step of self-evaluation. In this step, what you need to do is that go onto the FSSC website, or you could contact any one of us, and we'll provide you the link and the Excel sheet, which can be filled with simple questions. And there are questions which are asked, and you need to take the self-evaluation. Basically, there is a column which says either whether you have it or you don't have it, yes or no. There's no category called as maybe in this. That means either you have it or you don't have it. If you believe that you do not have that particular thing, then you just say no, or you can ask the experts about it. The next step would be that you could get the training, which is an optional. Some organizations have in-house training, and some organizations actually work with third-party agencies. So that we have training organizations and also institutions like ITC IFSAN who could guide you in this process. So once you are ready at level 1, you believe that you have done your own assessment, you can involve a certification body to come and assess your facility at level 1. And if they believe that you meet all the requirements of level 1, they would issue you a conformity statement, which looks like a certificate, but which we do not call it as a certificate. It's a conformity statement that you have met the level 1. Typically what happens is that the organizations, when they achieve the level 1, there is a sense of achievement in the organization that yes, we have been on this journey for the last 3 months. We have achieved something. So it's like when you play a Mario Party game on a video game, every time you hit the hurdle and you pass the obstacle, you get some coins. So basically, this is what it gives you is an encouragement and confidence building, which ensures that the conformity statement is offered to you. Now, once you achieve the level 1, you can continue to go into FSSC 2000's next step, which is level 2, which is conformity assessment level 2. And so the organizations sometimes may find that they already have met level 1 and they want to jump straight into level 2. There is additional set of questions which are issued in the Excel checklist. And you could do a self-assessment yourself in both the levels. And if you are compliant with the level 2, you could straightway go into getting conformity statement for it. And if you, once your organizations are ready with this, both level 1 and level 2, you could get FSSC 20000 certification for your organization or that outlet. Now, just wanted to give you an example. Last year, Starbucks in China got certified to FSSC 22000 catering certification for their outlets. So this has been a popular program. We had shared the information even in India with many people during our Focus Day program, but at that time we had not launched this level 1 and level 2, and we realized that there are many institutions, those who would be willing to start with level 1 and get the confidence before they move further. So this is a simple, for those who typically like a stepwise process. How do I do? What do I do? Download the information, conduct a self-evaluation, training is required. So basically this depicts a 7-step program, how you could get started on this program. Now, how does the checklist looks like? Once you will go on to this link, which is provided at the bottom, you will be able to download this Excel sheet yourself. You don't need any registration or anything of that sort, or you don't need any password for this. What it requires is basically you just need to go there, download it, read some of the content. There's a small video about it. Take a look at it, and then once you download this checklist, what is more important is you sit down with your team and honestly answer the questions. That means whether you confirm or you do not conform to that particular statement when it is said. If you are not sure about it, do not try to overinterpret it. Ask someone as an expert. If not, then just write no. And then whenever you go through your trainings, or if you have any specific questions, you could ask the experts, and they will let you know whether you're really compliant or not. In this reference, you could also mention if you have any documentation available within your organization, you could mention about it. And you can also write a comment in case you are in the process of implementing that particular piece of requirement which is given there. Now, if you see, I've put a plus there. We are in the process of working with ITC IFSAN to build additional piece of FSSAI country-specific inclusion. That means when you will be able to take the assessment, you will also see that whether you are going to be compliant with FSSAI current rules and regulations. We would be looking at this activity once in a year, just to see that that we make sure that there are any updates in the FSSAI or even in the checklist on annual basis. So to be clear, it's very important that you first go ahead and download this. And if you're not able to find it, you can contact any one of us. We'll be happy to share this list with you. And one of the important thing here is that this also gives you link to ISO 1022000, because there are a lot of organizations, what they want to do is they want to achieve ISO 22000 or even FSSC 22000 because some of their customers demand for it. So you can see those references on the left-hand side. Moving on, 3 simple steps. I mentioned about 7 steps, and now I'm talking about 3 simple steps. 7 steps are actually broken down, but there are 3 key steps. First step is to reflect. That means you download the Excel checklist, you go through the assessment along with your team and share the results with your management. Then you can see where is the gap in terms of training or any preparations required to meet the level 1 or level 2, depending on where you are in as a organization, and then order for conformity assessment with approved certification bodies, and those will be able to guide you through the rest of the process. So, as we have seen, if you are able to achieve level 1, you would get a conformity statement, which will state a foundational level achievement. If you are at level 2, it will say intermediate level assessment has been certified for. And you can also, once you go from level 1 to level 2, you can go for full certification of FSSC 22000. Now, as I said, that we work only with licensed conformity assessment bodies. So it is important that you go through only licensed conformity assessment bodies for your program. If somebody says that, you know, I can do assessment for you, please ask them whether they have a license to do these certifications for them on behalf of FSSC. And even if you go on to FSSC, you will be able to see those list of organizations, those who are licensed to conduct those verification. And one of the important reason is that those are the agencies, they go through rigorous assessments themselves on building capability and capacity, and have high level of standards in order to ensure that you get the best out of your assessments. Now, what you as a management would get once the assessment is done is the standardized assessment report. And this assessment report can be viewed and compared with your assessment. You can see the gap analysis. And as you will keep doing this on a periodic basis, your self-assessment, you'll also automatically develop an internal audit tool for yourself to make sure that you are not slipping out of what's going on. Because typically, when there's a change in people or the process, there are chances that you may not be meeting some of these requirements. So these standardized assessment reports are extremely important for you. A conformity statement, which could be put on the wall, on some of the stationaries, and there are requirements which are given in the checklist itself, that where you can use this conformity statement. And you got to remember that this is not a product certification, so you cannot print the logo of FSSC onto the products or packages which you are selling in the market. But definitely you can display the certificates at the entrance of your outlet or inside, so that it's visible to the customers or stakeholders. One of the important thing is that once you are issued this conformity statement or certificate, it will be listed in FSSC public registered at the global level, which provides a recognition for your outlet, basically. Whether it is a single restaurant or it's a multi-chain restaurant, it doesn't matter. Name and location of every certificate which is issued will be listed onto the FSSC Global Public Registrar. So it is verifiable. So we're going to go through this pre-launch preparation. We saw that we are doing this high-level orientation program. What is it that which is development program? What you need to go back to your management and get commitment for doing resources for implementing this, and it may be yourself to begin with, and you need to find some enthusiasts in your organization who would like to work and learn more about this. Identify a project lead, define a scope, and make an internal announcement that you want to go for it. Once you do that, it's important to do the internal communication specifically for the large organizations, and then review fit for purpose checklist, which is already issued to you, or you can download it from the FSSC website. It's important that during the pilot, you do assessment internally yourself first to see that effectiveness of that. And then you can also contact certification body or training organizations or anyone who has a knowledge about that specific subject matter expertise to see whether you are fully meeting the requirements of these programs. Then you can conduct a management review. And one of the important things is that stay connected with RAI, FSSC, and ITC IFSAN whenever you have any questions or comments about it. So what you see today is on the chart on the right hand side after the bar is after December 2020. There's been a lot of work which is done before, since the last 6 months in this space. Now these are some of the milestones which we want to achieve in the next 3 to 4 months. So typically, my observation is that if the organization has been practicing quality, food safety, and compliant with FSSAI, they're almost there and ready for getting those conformity statements or even getting certification. So you could get started and you could be ahead, show a leadership in the process that you are one of the organizations, those who are leading in this process. With this, I would like to hand it over to Mrs. Shubaprada, ma'am, who is going to share that how she can help in this whole process of achieving compliance plus for your organization.
Thank you so much, Doc, and a very good afternoon to all the participants. On behalf of ITC IFSAN, we are extremely happy to be part of this partnership, so to say, and a big thank you to Dr. Darshane and Smita from FSSC and the entire RAI team, Gautam, Lawrence, and of course Meenakshi for driving this and bringing it to this stage where we are today talking with the relevant stakeholders on how we can build on this very unique program that has been launched by FSSC. Many of you are, from what I see in the participants list, fairly well versed with the requirements, so to say, and understand. And Doc has done an excellent platform setting by describing both the need as also the process of how you may achieve this certification. I will be just taking about 10 minutes to talk about how ITC IFSAN can support in this and what is the role that we play in this entire pilot that we have planned together with RAI and FSSC 22000. ITC IFSAN, as some of you might already know, is a training center which was set up jointly by FSSAI under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, the Export Inspection Council under Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and we received also a significant funding from the World Bank through their Global Food Safety Partnership. You can look at the ITC IFSAN website, connect with us on Facebook page and YouTube page for further details. But essentially what the center has been opened, we are based in Bombay in Andheri as part of the EIA facility. The center has high-end analytical equipment and some excellent training rooms where the focus for us is to help in building capacity in food safety and applied nutrition for not just India, but across the entire Southeast Asian region. We work in training. We are a very young organization, a young center started by the government about a year and 2 months. And we work in conducting trainings for all the stakeholders in the food space. So yes, we do train industry, we train in, students, we train the regulators themselves, we train the analytical labs. Our center has, as I said, capacity to conduct hands-on training for a number of contaminants, vitamins, and most chemical hazards that as we understand them in food. For all our trainings, we started up in September 2019, and for all our trainings, our focus has been to ensure that the trainings are built to support a journey towards self-compliance. Both FSSAI and EIC are very strong proponents of the concept that food safety is a shared responsibility. And moving ahead, even at a ministry level, we are seeing a lot of activity where we are not looking at food safety merely as a food business responsibility. The buzzword, if I may, today is food systems. So it's an entire farm to fork approach that we are looking at. And not just from farm to fork, where we as industry need to ensure our hazard management, but from a governance perspective, where the government is working towards ensuring that there is a very deeply integrated system for food safety and nutrition along with it. Doc, can we just stay on the earlier slide for a minute more, please? Thank you. So ITC IFSAN works towards supporting self-compliance. Self-compliance is increasingly being mandated by all regulatory authorities. In order for self-compliance to come in, I think what is key is the ability to manage risk. Risk is a very often used word, but not very well understood in most cases. And all of our training programs are built towards communicating the methodology of risk identification, assessment, management, so to say. Okay. And of course, we do look at ensuring that there is a connect with our training so that the trainings continue with impact. We can move on now, Doc. Thank you. The ITC IFSAN was very pleased to partner in this initiative where we have a standard, a pre-existing standard. FSSC is a extremely well-known standard worldwide. It's one of the most favored go-to schemes amongst the GFSI approved schemes. But where they are launching a simplified version which makes it far easier for either a small industry or even a large industry which is setting out to take their first steps towards a certification. And RAI bringing in their deep connect with the entire industry in both retail and catering, which helps to manage the communications right. Our role as ITC IFSAN will be to provide the competence building enablers. We have over the last year or so trained 40,000 plus individuals, as I said, across various stakeholders. And I just wanted to share a little bit of my learning, which is relevant to today's discussion. As I study the levels 1 and 2 for this certification, I think what you see in blue, the GMP requirements and the HACCP requirements, now these are something which are required for licensed food businesses to meet already in our country. Since the FSS Act of 2006, mandating the requirement of GMP, which we see as Schedule 4 requirements, Schedule 4 of the licensing and registration regulation. Recently, there has been a draft which has proposed significant changes to this regulation where GMP is also defined. And the Act itself mandating that hazard analysis and critical control points are well implemented. When I look at that regulated or mandatory statutory requirement, so to say, of having a well implemented HACCP and a regulatory requirement of ensuring compliance to Schedule 4, and I compare that with the building blocks that FSSC's development program offers in its level 1, there is a high degree of synergy. What this program offers to us is a step-by-step methodology or process to ensure that we meet the law of the land, to meet the compliance which is essential for us to do business in India. That, I think, makes this entire program very, very attractive to all kinds of food businesses. Even if you are a large organization, are already certified to, let's say, FSSC version 5, there is still merit in seeking that your suppliers go through this program. When we understand FSSAI's shared responsibility, a part of that shared responsibility is also that we as caterers, that we as the food businesses that are serving the food are responsible for ensuring that we receive food from people who are meeting food safety requirements. Of course, they should be FSSAI registered or licensed. There's no two ways about it. But our responsibility doesn't just stop with checking their license or checking their registration. Our raw material receipt and our raw material quality and safety is a very key input for which we are also liable from a regulatory perspective. this for the stage 1 part. When we move to the phase 2 and we look at the requirements that are defined in that, I think there is a lot of synergy with FSSAI's numerous schemes which are being popularized. Now, I am sure all of you are aware that the catering sector under the prepared foods category 16 is identified as a high risk industry by FSSAI, and already since 2019 all central license holders are required to ensure that they undergo a mandatory audit for a set of requirements which are defined as phosphorus from the regulator's perspective. You can go to the phosphorus website of FSSAI and look at the requirements. But the point that I'm making is that there is already today a requirement from the authority for a mandatory third party audit are requesting tech support. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for that. So where today FSSAI has identified the catering industry as amongst the high risk industries and mandated for central license holders that there is a mandatory audit, the requirements of those audit which we see as the phosphorus checklist which are available meet with the phase 1 requirements of this development program. FSSAI also is strongly recommending that catering organizations go for a hygiene rating certification. Going through this development program will prep you to achieve the hygiene rating certification that FSSAI has launched, and I think seeing a lot of traction over the last few months. All of us are impacted by the pandemic, and as Dr. Prabodh mentioned, both FSSAI as well as the Bureau of Indian Standards have come out with requirements. FSSAI has come out in the form of a guidance document, whereas the BIS has published a standard, IS 17453, which talks about what industry must do in order to ensure that the risk which is coming through the working in the current pandemic is best managed. When we look at all of this put together, I think the phase 2 version offers a very simple manner of approaching and ensuring that your organizations are able to meet these requirements, which are nice to have. Just over the last 3 months, ITC IFSAN has conducted 2 auditor training programs for the hygiene rating audit. We've conducted numerous sensitization programs state-wise. And when we conduct these programs for state regulators, a very often repeated request is for greater training of this particular industry, because it is seen as an industry where there is a lot of variable in terms of the menus that you offer, in terms of the people. The pandemic has also strongly affected the availability of resources to this industry in terms of supply. So the regulator has taken cognizance of this and is working towards engaging with all the relevant stakeholders to improve competence, and ITC IFSAN has been leading that effort, so to say. We will also be coming up with numerous programs to keep this focus and to keep the knowledge share around these areas: hygiene rating, HACCP, of course, the FSSC full version requirements, the FSSC development program requirements. Our role in this partnership is to make these available to all of those who are signing up to be part of the pilot. The idea is that the selected organizations who do join the pilot program, who are part of the pilot, are able to receive the very best inputs required in order to streamline this entire process of achieving the certification, either at a phase 1 level, a phase 2 level, or a full certification level. So that's it from me. I hand over this to Ms. Sarika Agarwal. Sarika is joining us to she's from an organization called Food Safety Works, and she's joining us because she has been part of the implementation of a program, of this program with an organization, and we thought that it would be of great interest to all the participants to hear a real life case study, so to say, and benefit from the challenges, benefit from the advantages that were found in implementing this. So Sarika, over to you, please.
Thank you, Subha. Thank you for the detailed, information in the starting. Thank you, Doc, for inviting me to share my experience on challenges, the benefits out of, implementing the FSSC 22000 in the kitchen setup. And definitely, it's not as same or simple as that we implement FSSC across the manufacturing units. Having the kitchens, it's pretty much hands-on exercise that you have to go through. You have to make sure things are at place. You have to make sure there's no time for you to recall your products. So I think before we start on our experience, I would just like you guys to take up on the setup that we have, on the kitchen that we worked on for implementing FSSC 22000 and getting them certified. So if you don't mind, can I have the next slide, please? Yeah, thank you. So moving on to the kitchen setup that we had, where we managed implementing FSSC 22000, which we did it in 2019 January, the starting of the year 2019, and definitely looking at the kitchen setup, it was like it's a big. And then if you go down, try looking at the kitchen which was certified. It's the Cisco kitchen out here, based out in Bangalore. It's a big MNC setup that we have, and the whole area, the campus area, consists of 3 different kitchens which we had to manage. And it's not, as I said, it was not as same as the setup of a manufacturing units. The menus and Indian palettes are pretty different from what the westernized palette is, right? So we want everything in our palette, starting from the starters till our desserts, everything has to be there. And I wouldn't say the IT guys are spoiled, but then yeah, they have a pretty big menu design for their lunches, breakfast, snacks, and everything that's there. So practically, if you look at if we have to put all these 3 kitchens together, we had around 150 dishes that we had to lay out throughout the day, starting from our breakfast, lunch, we had for our snacks, and then yes, a small portion of our dinner. Along with that, we definitely had our tuck shops, which also went into looking into our hazard analysis and all those things. So being an MNC company where we had to set up all this, we had to manage a multi-stakeholder part out here, wherein the facility management team was a different team. The people on the production, who were managing the kitchen production was a different team. The maintenance was a different team. The housekeeping was a different team. It was not under one umbrella. It's like, different entities which has to be put together. So we as Food Safety Works out here, we were playing a major role of handling the quality assurance there, also hand-holding them to make sure that, everything is well planned, well set up, making sure everybody goes through the process of understanding and implementing FSSC. So that was multi-stakeholder management was, I think, something which was a big challenge out here with the setup that we had out here with multiple kitchens and multiple things. The kitchen, we had 2016 is when we managed we planned and had our HACCP certification done. I think having the HACCP certification done did help us getting the FSSC 22000, where the people were pretty much, tuned up to the risk, the hazard analysis and the risk management and all those things. So I think the new concept that has come in with the FSSC on the conformity level 1, level 2, and finally going to FSSC, it's definitely going to help, the catering industry, the restaurant industry to raise the level higher to implement the FSSC, overall. Yep. So ahead, please. Yeah. So if you look at the implementation in total, yes, we did, even after HACCP, having the HACCP, we did take around 6 months of time. And the most challenges were like about, making sure that things are implemented properly. The training was something I think we did hear Doc talking about the training from the starting, saying like you do a self-evaluation and there goes the training, right? We did hear Suba talking about it, saying like the training. So training becomes the most, critical key out here, making sure people do follow, people do understand through the processes every day, because catering is not as well organized as our manufacturing units are. So hand holding people through day in and out to make sure, the systems, processes are there in place. People are following. It's just a simple thing like, people just not wearing their jewelry, even though after you have a proper protocols. It's just a simple thing saying like, it's very easy for people to say ki bhool gaya main nikalna. So, training, making sure why it has to be done instead of just saying like how to do it. It was more important for us to explain them why it is to be done. What happens if you are not doing the things that are required? The following up on the processes was very, very important. I think literally we ended up taking trainings every single day with every different departments. It was like a challenging situation at times with handling the maintenance guys as well, saying like, no, we can do it the way we want to. So then we had to get back to them saying like, no, it doesn't work the way you have to. So just on the implementation part, so I still remember, when we were doing it, so I said saying like, hey guys, we have to go and look at what type of setup do you have on your food defense mechanism for your water. Then they're like, why do you need to check our sumps? Why do you need to check our water? What is that? So we had to actually get down to the management level, up to the management level, to drive down that, saying like, hey, we need so and so infrastructure changes, which is very difficult, especially if it's like a multi-stakeholder management. If it's like definitely a very controlled environment to have any type of changes done, right? Definitely it's a whole capex, opex, everything involved. But then, yeah, so we successfully managed doing all of those. The management was pretty much aligned. They were, really they really provided the resources, the support to make sure that the whole process of implementation, making sure the resources are provided, making sure the changes what are required is been done. So that definitely helped us, to move up the ladder. We did take 6 months, but then I think we did build up a robust program out there, saying like nothing can, move these systems out from that place. Yeah, so definitely it's not that can't be done. It's for sure, it's like a food safety is everybody's business, and everybody has to be deep involved, having the systems in place and getting things done out there. Yeah. So next slide. Out of it, what did we get? Number one, yes, the confidence that we got into our, employees who manage eating the food out there, and with the folks out there living practically from the, the offices, practically living on the food that's been served. So I think number one was also the confidence that we got. communication across the team was excellent after that. It was like, super easy to make sure, there's a proper communication between everybody that happens. We understood the languages that we spoke after having the systems and processes set up from FSSC. Food defense was something very new for the whole, department out there. So implementing food defense system was something we had to tell them, but then it was very important for us to make sure the privacy of the employee is also, taken care of. We couldn't have things done wherein the privacy was at risk. So we had to be very critically planning, saying like, where are the places the food defense has to be taken care? How do we plan it? Is it okay? So general thing is saying like, okay, let's put the cameras, but is it okay to put the cameras? So it had to be, deep dived on to understand what are the different protocols that can be put in to make sure the food defense is there, the reduced risk are there, while implementing food defense. So that was something, which was a great learning for the whole team out there. So overall, on the food safety aspect, so I think, the people did understand how important is food safety in the whole for the whole consumer. How important is it to make sure things are in place? So I think it's I would like to saying like it's not just about a practice or a certificate, right? It's about all the practices working together in tandem with the operations, so that you are confident that the food that goes out of your plant or your premises will cause no harm to the consumer. So that's something which I think everybody was happy about, saying like, okay, we have the systems, we have the food defense programs, we have the allergen managements, which was very important, which also like, the law of the country talks about, and everything as per the legal requirements we were meeting up and beyond having the FSSC thing done, right? So yeah, sounds like a big work, but definitely not. It was not such a big monster, it did take a lot of effort, definitely, yes, but then the outcome was so nice that I think we all forgot the effort put in, and it's like free flow of things that happen in the whole setup now. So we don't have to worry too much about what can go wrong, right? So that's my part. That's my a little bit sharing on the implementation. So I would say, guys, go for it. It's a good program, and having the 3-step program now, the development program, could make it much more easier. Doesn't make a difference what type of kitchen you run, what type of food you are preparing. Food safety is food safety, whether it's a ghost kitchen or a host kitchen or a restaurant.
Doc, back to you.
Okay, I just had lost last 10 seconds. So thank you, Sarika. I appreciate you joining us today. I think your experience has been very wonderful for everyone to listen to. So what Sarika has mentioned about achieving a full certification, all 3 stages in 6 months. And she didn't talk about just achieving phase 1 and phase 2. For you, it's very important that you can begin the process. You may be able to achieve the stage 1 and get conformity statement within 1 month itself, depending on how far you are in the organization. So it's very important that you understand this program is broken down. I think when Sarika implemented the program, at that time, there was no development program for this. And one of the reasons the FSSC came out is they wanted to make sure that people find it easy steps and they can go for it. With that, Also, I would like to thank Shubha for giving insights related to what's happening with ITC IFSAN and how they are going to help us in this whole process. Now, a lot of people would ask, what's the cost of it? What's the investment related to this? So the investment related to this is whatever time you spend in training your people. I would additionally say that once you decide to go through the assessment and ask for the full assessment by third-party agency, they would be charging you for a one-day assessment charge for the certification body, whatever they charge for, which is typically very published rates nowadays. And you could get in touch with them and get more details about it. But from FSST standpoint, the foundation has decided not to charge any fees per certificate or issuance of any statement or certificate to you. So which is a big saving. So the foundation has felt that it is important to do the capacity building in this space, and they have taken this decision. So how do you sign up for the participation? You could send a message to Meenakshi at rai.net.in, or you could contact me, Shubha, or Smita, or anyone who is connected with this, or simply if you don't find anybody, just go on to FSSC website and say request help. That's it, and the questions will get redirected to ourselves, and we'll be able to provide it to you. I'm going to show you who are the people and their contacts in next few moments. So when you go to the management, or you are the management, you are an entrepreneur and you're running your restaurant, or you are a manager of a restaurant who is managing more than one restaurant, what are the benefits that you need to look for? It's very important that the subject matter experts in your organization can help develop their own food safety system. This stepping stone model, the level 3-step model, helps you achieve goal of achieving full certification in case you want to go in the future, or you have a choice to start and remain at level 1 or level 2 itself. The confidence you can get, or the people can get, is that the assessment is done by third-party independent assessment bodies, those who go through accreditation process and also surveillance process with FSSC. And you can also leverage the training organizations which are already listed in the FSSC site, or many other resources what are available in the market. Now, this is an excellent tool for vendor development and assurance. You can also ask your suppliers to go for it. Although the checklist would be slightly different, but 90% is almost similar. And you can ask them to go for a development program in case you are buying any cheese or meat or any materials in bulk. It's very important that if they are at level 1 or level 2, then your confidence should grow, basically. This also provides market access to confirming food organizations. It's listed in a public register, so your certificate is valid, which you put it on the wall and can be trusted and verified by anyone. And there are several tools which are available on FSSC website itself for assessor training. So a lot of times the organizations want to do their internal audits. This checklist is an excellent tool to conduct your own assessments. You don't need anybody, you just need to download this checklist and just simply answer the questions yes and no, and it will tell you how far you are compliant with the regulations, as well as how far you're meeting the food safety requirements. And the lower duration and the cost level than the full certification makes this program attractive for you to go ahead and jump into it and join the program. So I just want to show you, this slide is not directly from FSSC. So this is one of the interesting slides I've come across. This was presented by Mr. Rajiv Peshavaria. He's based in Malaysia. He published recently in Forbes that as individual or as a group or organization, we begin even in our life with the dependence that we are partnering with people, we are depending on somebody to gain the knowledge. So it's very important that when you don't know something, you can go and ask somebody who knows about it. And that's called as a state of dependence. Then you move into the yellow phase, which is independence, because most of the time, once you practice things a lot better, you get into state of independence. And then over a period of time, there are new things which come up your way. And that's where you realize that you need to be in the middle state where you're constantly collaborating with the industry, with the government, with the experts. And that is the state of interdependence. And I think it is very important that if you are starting or beginning this journey, go with the phase of dependence, partner with the different associations which we talked about, get knowledge, get help, get insights, prepare yourself to move on into the journey. And the success to your organization will be based on the people in your organization. And make sure that you begin with some of the enthusiasts, those who are always there in the organization to create and spread the good word about it. So what is it that you will achieve? You will achieve compliance to your local regulations. You will achieve quality and food safety, which is going to build trust and reputation. So if you look at what the consumer is looking for, they assume that you are compliant because you have been given license by FSSAI. They want to make sure that what they get is a quality food and it does not harm them or hurt them, which is through food safety, which over the period builds trust, and you get a repeat customer out of that, and your reputation becomes that, yes, this is a place where I go and I recommend you to go there because they all meet all those my basic need states. So these are the organizations right now. They have got the licenses to do FSSC Development Program assessments, but there is a much bigger list of associations, those who have ability to provide you, take you through the full certification. So if you go to the website, you can find that, or if you have any questions, you could contact us and we'll be able to provide the entire list who are available in India or nearby countries for you to join us. We also provided the emails of the people straight away so that in case you have any questions, you should be able to ask them for the development program. How do you go about it? How do you implement? How do you do the assessment? And these are the people who are currently involved in the process. Also, Sarika is there. She helped us today by giving a case study, which was a full certification. So these are the resources. So please feel free. You have the emails. Get in touch with us. It will be able to help you and guide you. One of the plan we have is to be able to put next level guidance, information, and maybe a workshop through ITC IFSAN on the compliance plus, how to achieve this, and we'll be announcing that very soon. At the same time, you may hear various of the organizations, those who are able to do assessment, they would be launching their own programs, and maybe those who are, some of you might be already working with them. Please take advantage of their knowledge and expertise. So with this, I also wanted to share with you that we have now FSSC Development Program for medium and small enterprises, just in case you have suppliers. Those who are not certified would like to go through it, they can go online and download the similar Excel checklist for themselves. So many organizations nowadays are, especially medium to small enterprises, are going for this. Number two, what we're talking about here is the catering and food service program. We have launched a development program for the first time, which was launched yesterday. Full program has been in place for a while now. We also have a program for retail and wholesale. We will be in the process of launching retail development program very soon. You need to wait for an announcement. We also have a certification program for transport and storage, which is very critical nowadays because of the mass movements of the goods and temperature sensitivity, storage, handling of allergens, and many other things. So beyond what we spoke today, there are many these programs available. In case your colleagues or your suppliers need to know about it, you would be able to advocate them. And with this, I'd like to thank everybody, those who joined on the program. Let's go through Q&As. So I would say, Meenakshi, Shubha, Smita, please join in answering the questions. So maybe you could unmute your line, or you could post your questions on your chat box. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Doc, for the insightful presentation. Thanks, Shubha ma'am and Sarika. I don't see any questions on the chat box as of now. So I guess we could wrap up for the session today, and we'll share the details. Where I mean, they could write to us, and we can take it forward from there in case of any questions.
Do you want to give a minute in case somebody is
Sure,
unmuting?
of course,
Maybe?
of course.
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
I'm not able to see the screen now, but I can see the question. So on the right hand side chat box, you could ask the questions. Maybe it's a late evening for people. They're wrapping up.
They may take some time to actually assimilate the information and then come back to us with queries.
Okay, that's fine. So what we are going to do now is that we will be receiving, those who had registered for the program will be receiving a copy of the presentation. And we will keep you in the mailing list for whenever we are organizing the next program in terms of any activity. So please do join us. And once again, thank you very much for joining today. And I really appreciate RAI, Meenakshi, Gautam sir, Lawrence sir for partnering with us, and also Shubaprada ma'am for joining us today and being partner in building food safety and advancing food safety for in India and subcontinent. I'd also like to thank Sarika for joining us. I think she was already in the training program. She just came out to speak to us. So once again, appreciate everybody, and I would like to hand it over back to Meenakshi for closing.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody. And thank you, Doc. Thanks for your time and thanks for the insightful information shared. Thanks, Shubha ma'am. Thanks, Sarika. And to all the food retailers, rather food service providers, we look forward to hearing from you and would like to take the first step towards the pilot for food for FSSC development program. Hope to hear from you guys soon. Thank you so much for your time. And we now wrap up this session. Thanks a ton.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shubha.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.